Abigail Lorenzen, Abigail Lorenzen. I am the Operations and Media Director. No, that's not right anymore. I'm the Education Coordinator for Right to Life of Northeast Indiana. Yeah, it takes a little bit. Yeah, I was out gardening when our executive director passed that news along, and I knew that they had filed a lawsuit. Of course, the ACLU and Planned Parenthood. That's unsurprising. They file lawsuits against most of the pro-life legislation that goes through, but um, it was really disappointing considering the Supreme Court ruling that had just come down that this fit inside of that, and so having to have the state spend money defending a law that was just passed is really disappointing, and I think not a great use of taxpayer dollars. So a little, a little annoyance on the side at the part of ACLU and Planned Parenthood. So the pro-life movement has a couple of different facets to it. I think the part that most people are aware of the most is pregnancy resource centers, who are doing a lot of the boots on the ground kind of things. So when they meet a woman who is in a crisis pregnancy, providing the resources, the tangibles that she needs to be able to support that new baby. And so supporting them is really important. Prayer is one of the biggest things that you can do no matter where you are, no matter how much time you have, no matter what your connection is inside of the pro-life movement. We covet those prayers. And I'm sure the Attorney General, Todd Rokita, does as well, as he's the front man on this case defending the law that Indiana passed against this lawsuit. So those two pieces are really important. At Right to Life, we do a lot of community education and community activism. So for instance, this Saturday, we're having a regional rally day where at all 8 counties in Northeast Indiana, we're going to be at the courthouses or, similar places downtown rallying. And so if people want to come to that and to make their voice and their presence known through that in a loving, peaceful way, that's a really important part of turning a community's mind and heart around, is to show up and to say, look, I care about this enough to put down what I was doing on a Saturday and come out. I believe it's at 11 a.m. iChooseLife.org has all of the information there. Abortion at its base is not about privacy. It's about human civil rights. It's about each individual having equal protection under law. Just because a woman is carrying a child doesn't mean that that child isn't its own individual. So if a woman has a right to bodily autonomy, so does that child. So a woman or anyone else in her life doesn't have the right to choose whether or not that other individual lives or dies. No worries. Most of the fight is left to the Attorney General. We can do some supportive kinds of things where if we have information that we feel like would be helpful to him, we can provide that to him. Again, a lot of the work that we do in the community is through education. And so sitting down with people and talking them through the logic of it. This is how we know each human being's valuable. This is how we know that they should be protected. And here's all the resources that help people who are in crisis pregnancies. We don't need abortion. But also educating people on the harms of abortion. There's sort of this underlying thought that abortion in some cases is helpful, and it never is. Besides taking the life of the child, which is sort of the obvious piece, there's so much harm that comes physiologically, but then also mentally and emotionally and spiritually to that woman who undergoes it. And so it's actually not helpful to the women of Indiana to be getting abortions. Instead, if we can break down each of those barriers that she's facing and help her with that, that is really the best way to serve these women and these families. And so as we're going forward, this dialogue is going to need to continue, because as we've seen in the past and we're sort of seeing right now, it's not enough to change the laws. The culture has to also reflect that thought process and those values. And so that's a huge piece of what Right to Life has been working on and is continuing to work on. I don't think so. I could go on a really long rant about why the lawsuit is crap, but I don't know if that's helpful. Um, no, I think we pretty well covered it. I think we're good. Yeah, I don't know if you can crop the weird shelf bracket. It's like not tall enough for the shelf, but whatever. They're yeah, sort of. It's ceramic like vote what do they call those? Luminaries? They're ceramic luminaries. Yeah. Mhm. Well, I made them, so it's yeah, here. Thanks. Yeah, so I'm a hobby ceramicist. So these are slabs that I rolled, of clay that I rolled flat and then right used a tool to cut them out. I used a pattern, so I didn't freehand it. But yeah, thanks. But the brackets look weird, so if you can crop those, that'd be great. Thanks. Have a good rest of your day. Bye.